Breaking news in DC. Hey guys, FPWellman. I'm here live with you, live streaming on Substack. I just want to go in breaking news. There is big breaking news actually out of Northern California today, and I wanted to jump online at lunchtime. We talked about it in last night's live stream that we would start talking about things that are happening in live real time. Well, big breaking news, and what happened is a judge in Northern California, so Judge William Alsop, who is the Northern District of California, ruled today that the firings of federal workers by DOGE, by OPM, were illegal. And the crux of the case relies on a key part of the way they fire these federal employees. If you haven't been following along, what they were saying is they were saying that these employees were probationary employees, millions, hundreds of thousands of probationary employees. And what DOGE was doing and OPM was doing was saying, hey, since they're probationary, we're going to go ahead and fire them during their probation period because they have to perform a certain way. They have to perform to standard to be fired. So what they did was OPM created a template email and gave it to all the departments. Say, hey, you got to fire all these people and use this template. And the template said, due to your poor performance, the government has decided not to retain your employment. Essentially, almost every single one of them said that, including 2,400 probationary employees from the Department of Veterans Affairs who brought this lawsuit in the Northern District of California with the unions, the American Federation of Government Employees and others. And they challenged this by saying that what OPM and what VA were doing were manipulating the rules for probationary employment to get these people fired. That's the whole point of it. They just said, hey, look, you have to prove when all these people were able to, story after story of people producing clear, reporting. I saw a great story of a guy who was actually a MAGA guy. He was interviewed, I think, in Washington State, and he produced all these stacks of his reviews from his supervisor saying what a great employee he was. And then he gets fired in an email saying he was poor performance. Now, it started off, a lot of people were just mad. They were worried they wouldn't be able to get unemployment. They were worried about, how it would affect. They're just hurt and angry that they had performed well as government employees were fired. But the problem is it's a manipulation of the law. And Judge Alsop was not having it. And I wish I could bring up, I could bring more up the screen, but Alsop was not having any of this. He lit into the government report. He lit into the government lawyers today, really telling them, look, first, the whole thing went south from the beginning. So they had this hearing in the Northern District of California. Judge also brought him in. The government employees, he ordered them to bring the OPM chief of staff, I believe, to come and testify, saying, hey, look, let's hear from OPM. They're the guys driving this, right? Let's hear from the guys driving these firings and let them talk about what they've done. And it turned out they didn't show up. So they started off badly from the beginning. Judge also was letting him. And if you know Judge William Alsop by reputation, just Google him sometime and you'll see people like, oh man, even when I was winning a case, he was kicking my ass. I mean, Judge Alsop is a no kidding kind of, he's a no bullshit judge. And what he did in this case, he told him, goes, this is a quote from his statement. He goes, I just want to say it is sad. It's a sad day when our government would fire an employee and say it was based on performance when they know good and well that's a lie. That should not happen in our country. That was a sham to avoid statutory requirements. And he went on to say that his temporary restraining order, so he put in place a temporary restraining order, it will now be extended into a permanent injunction, a PI in lawyer speak. So TRO is now a PI. And the VA will immediately offer reinstatement to all probationary employees terminated on or about February 13th to February 14th. The terminations were unlawful. The VA will cease use of all of OPM's template termination notices and shall immediately advise employees that the Northern District of California found that terminations were unlawful. VA must cease terminations at OPM's directive. OPM has no authority to direct termination of federal employees. OPM is also precluded from giving guidance on terminations, given DOJ's argument that OPM merely gave guidance, not a directive. This has been the game they've been playing since the beginning. They're trying to say that, look, hey guys, OPM, they're just advising. They're not doing this. They're just out here, doing their thing, advising supervising the government. They're not actually directing anyone. And to say otherwise would be a lie. And that's all lies. Okay. All right. So what's happened is, and I'm just joining the live chat. So if you've written something before, I just opened it up because I was talking. But if you want to send me a message, hi guys, welcome to the show. Wow, a lot of folks. You can send me messages now. I can see your messages on screen. Having said that, the whole sham was that OPM, you see, and I want to explain this to you guys, and I don't have a lot of graphics, but I'll explain it anyways. The Office of Personnel Management does have personnel management in its name. That's true. But the way our federal government is organized is by law from Congress. Each federal branch manages their own personnel for a host of good reasons. Each of them may have different hiring requirements. Each of them may have different needs. Each of them may have different unions. So each federal branch of government manages their own people. It is not like OPM is the HR shop for the entire United States government. Now, that's what they want. That's what DOGE wanted. That's what OPM, that's what they want. OPM, the new guy, what's this? Fuck, they idiot, Russ Vought. That's what he wanted. But that's not the law, folks. The law is each branch has their own. So what they did was, first, if you heard in the early days, DOGE created an all federal government employee list, email list, which is incredibly dangerous. We won't get into that. Then they started sending, that's where those emails for your 5 bullets came from OPM. It's ridiculous. It's illegal, but it's, this is the Trump administration. I think it's illegal. But then they issued this guidance to the departments like, hey, all your probation employees, they actually told each department how many employees to fire, who to fire, and how to do it. And then they sent out this template email to fire people saying, hey, your performance has been poor, you got to go. So the breaking news that I got, if you're just joining me, is this. A federal judge in Northern California has completely rejected the entire argument that OPM can fire me. Oh, and then finish the best part. Then Judge Alsup said, sorry, gang, this isn't just for VA. This is for 5 other federal agencies. So this ruling, at least 30,000 probationary workers were fired. And a few federal agencies have called us back, because like USDA called a few people back. Oh my God, the National Nuclear Security Agency had to call the people back. And the punchline of this, guys, is when they fire these people, they've been like locking them out of their email and stuff, and they're not doing any termination processing where they can't like a forwarding email address. So they're firing people, and they don't even have like forwarding addresses for them when they fire them. So people are being fired without any information. But the forwarder is effective immediately. He's a Clinton appointee. I don't care about that. It's a U.S. District Court of Northern California. But here's where it's really interesting. The agencies ordered to rehire their workers include Department of Agriculture, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Department of Interior, Department of Treasury, and my favorite, the VA. So all these fired probation employees are all being called back because it was illegal to fire them, which is pretty awesome. and we've been saying this for a while. So this is really huge good news, you guys. And yeah, Tiffany, I see we did need some good news. This is just, yeah, thank you. It's everybody. Will they comply? I don't know. They have to. I mean, look, in the end, these cabinet secretaries do have to comply with the law. There are ways to manipulate them. But look, I'm just telling you right now, this is incredibly good news for these federal employees who did nothing wrong. And you see, just so you guys don't understand, if you don't understand, the probationary employee isn't just new people. Now, that's bad enough. Firing the next generation of civil servants who stepped up to serve our federal government is bad. But it also included like scientists and others who've been working for years in their fields and got recent promotions. And with that promotion comes a probationary period. So these assholes fired some of the best and brightest of our government, scientists, researchers, national security people, because they just wanted to get rid of people and say they were accomplishing something. And that's the other punchline. They're not accomplishing shit, right? I mean, let's be honest, they're not. But this is huge news. I want to get it in front of you as fast as possible. If you hadn't heard already, it's breaking across all the news. There'll be a lot more to follow. It is a permanent injunction. Will it be a Trump? It might be, but this is a pretty clear law. I mean, look, there's black and white in the law sometimes, and this is a very black and white thing. And the union saw it from the beginning. You can't just suddenly say someone is not performing a standard after they had literally, some people showed reviews as early as a week ago, a week before they were fired, saying they were doing exceptional. So it's very clear. Will it go to the Supreme Court? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't everything these days, but I say, let's just take the victory for a minute. I'm always telling you, I'm going to find you the victories where I can. And this is a big victory, I think, for us, where it shows that in this case, we are doing the right thing. The judges are doing the right thing, and we're really finally in a good place. Now that goes with a lot of other news that's going on today. Let me jump on some other news you may not have heard of too, since you're here, because you showed up, and I appreciate you. One of the big ones, of course, is the supposed ceasefire that Trump insisted that the minute Ukraine submitted to it and would agree to a Ukraine, that the good news is that don't have to worry about things. His friend Putin would comply. Well, Putin didn't. He launched a bunch of shit missiles and killed people, killed kids, and kept going. But as it looks right now, Putin said, this is exciting, you guys, he doesn't dismiss the idea of a ceasefire. I mean, wow. I mean, so did not, but he wants to iron out details. So he's kind of playing the game with Trump now about how he wants ceasefire. Meanwhile, he's pounding Ukraine with missiles and drones and everything else. Another interesting thing that popped today is it looks like Pete Buttigieg is not going to run for Senate. There was quite a bit of talk. It was kind of freezing a lot of people out of running for the Senate in Michigan because they thought he might run. It looks like he has decided not to run. He's going to stay doing what he does. So that's interesting. I mean, you could look at that a couple different ways, right? But Pete is not going to run for the Senate. It looks like just a lot of really big news coming on. So I think what we're seeing is some of the cracks in this facade, right? Some final cracks, some wins. We're chalking up some wins. We're just going to keep on trying to chalk up as many as we can. But you see, the courts are a bastion. The courts must uphold the law, and this was such a clear violation of the law and the rights of these federal employees to be treated with such disdain for the hard work they do. So we're going to keep up with this. I'll keep up with it. I'll do a write-up. I've also got a new write-up coming right now. I'm working on something separate from this, but I want to do this. If you guys like this, we could probably do this almost every day at lunchtime now that I've got access to live streaming right from the On Democracy studio and join in. As always, this is On Democracy. Again, breaking news. If you're just joining us, the breaking news is that in a stunning decision, Judge William Alsup of the Northern District of California has ruled that the firings of federal employees was illegal, and that upwards of 30,000 federal employees who were fired under the lie that they had not performed their duties effectively while on probationary periods was false. And he has now ordered 6 different federal agencies to bring those people back to work immediately. This is not a temporary restraining order, you guys. This is a permanent injunction. And that, again, that includes workers that were fired from Department of Agriculture, Defense, Energy, Interior, the Treasury, and of course, the Department of Veterans Affairs, who I believe was I think it was VA employees that brought this lawsuit originally and have been brought back. So this is really exciting news, you guys. If you're looking, there are marches this weekend. I'll be in St. Louis waving a sign outside Johnny Cochran VA Hospital. We've got hopefully several hundred people come down to show our support for these VA workers who've been fired. There's marches in Washington and all 50 state capitals this weekend. Let's show them the power of what we bring to the table, that we're not going to sit down for this. And if you're following along, there's an all new On Democracy with FPWellman podcast going out tomorrow. It'll show up here on Substack and, of course, exclusively on the Midas Touch Network on YouTube. I have a great conversation with a journalist from Mother Jones examining the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, which Elon Musk has dropped $13 million into. Elon Musk dropped $13 million into a Supreme Court case. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow on Democracy with FPWellman. If you want me to stream you know what? I will turn on my camera while I'm at this march so you guys can see what we're up to. Be about lunchtime too. So let's see again. We'll see you live tomorrow around lunchtime. If you guys join me, so many of you are, I really appreciate it. As always, if you're not a subscriber, you probably are. It's join our Substack, the On Democracy channel Substack. It's free to join. Paid subscriptions matter. I love your paid subscriptions where you help us pay. Nothing is kept from you if you're not paying. But if you do pay, you help me do things like this and stay home all day and watch the news and produce shows you like. And of course, we are now going to start live streaming on Democracy Sunday right here on this channel on Substack, because guess what? We can. Thanks to Substack giving me access to the live streaming beta they've put out. I can actually stream right from my studio. So you'll see live on Democracy Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. We've got Rosa Brooks coming on. I think I've got an elected official. Got another cool panel. Have a few laughs. Talk about the news. This is the place for all of it. Guys, I love seeing you here. Thank you for so many of me joining on such short notice. I just set this out. For more information, send me notes. Leave a comment. comment. I'm always open to hearing from you. If you guys got great ideas for more we can do, but let's meet again. So tomorrow about this time, you'll see me on the streets of Grand Avenue in St. Louis as we support our friends who work for the VA, taking care of me and my fellow veterans who deserve to be well treated. The promise that Abraham Lincoln himself made after the Civil War, we must continue that promise. And firing 83,000 employees is what Doug Collins is talking about doing. That ain't it, folks. So we're going to hold them accountable and make their lives hard for the audacity of them to undermine our care and the well-being of our veterans and all Americans. With that, again, breaking news as always. Thousands of federal fire workers are going to return by order of federal judge William Alsup in the Northern District of California with a permanent injunction, making 6 agencies that fired federal employees lying about their performance under probationary rules, forcing them to be rehired because it was illegal. Stay tuned. Join the On Democracy channel. Love seeing you guys. Tell your friends. Join more. We'd love to see a couple hundred more of you join me tomorrow. With that, I am Fred Wellman, host of On Democracy with FPWellman. If I can find the turn off button, I'll be like really professional. It'll be so cool if I can do it. And we will be all set. See you guys later. Thanks for joining me. Let's stay in the fight. Like I tell you, keep up the fight, folks. I'm telling you, I know it's hard to see it. It's hard to see it. But we're winning. I know you don't believe me, right? But we are. You know why? Because we ain't scared of these assholes. We ain't scared. They want us to be scared, and we're not. So keep up the fight. Thanks for joining me here on the On Democracy channel. I'll see you again probably tomorrow.